Never let a man come over to your house after a first date. And if you used to do that, you're not going to do that after this story time. Let's go. I also forget to mention that it's a true story time. Yeah, let us begin. The story starts off with this young girl. She goes on a first date with this guy. They go out to get dinner. And honestly, he was a green flag all throughout. Like, he was nice to the waitresses. He paid for the bill. Like, no red flags at all. This is why no matter how normal or nice a guy seems to be, you can never trust them too quickly because the story's like this. The dinner goes great, he pays the bill, and then they just go about their day and they go to their own homes. So obviously this is a respectful man, right? Like, he didn't even try to get her to come over and didn't ask to go over to her house yet. So she goes home and then she gets a call from him, and he's basically saying how he can't find his key, his roommate is not answering the phone, and if he could just come over for the time being until either his roommate answers the phone or he finds his key somehow. And she obviously said yes because, once again, no red flags. He comes over, they're having a blast, they're just sitting on the couch, talking, vibing, and then it just gets really late, so she's like, hey, you can sleep on the couch until you figure things out, I'm gonna go to my room. And something told her to lock the door. Obviously, she lives alone, she doesn't normally lock the door, but something, an instinct. A woman's instinct is always right. So she ends up locking the door and then just going to sleep. A couple hours pass and then she gets a knock on her bedroom door, and it's him asking for a phone charger because his died. Something told her once again, don't open the door, just tell him where it is. So she does not move and she says, it's on the kitchen counter, like, help yourself. And he says thank you, and then he goes about his business, and then she just goes back to bed. Okay, this is where it gets a little for me. A couple minutes go by and then he comes back and knocks on the door and says, hey, like, this charger's not working, like, do you have a charger in your room that I can borrow? Something just raises a flag in her head, like, hey, something's wrong, why does he want to get into my room so bad? So she calls the police. After she calls the police, she hears the door kind of opening. She hears a bunch of commotion outside. And then a couple minutes later, the police knock on her bedroom door and say, hey, you're safe. He's in custody. Come outside and look at your living room. Guess what she saw? Please, just pause the video. I want you guys to guess first before you actually hear what it is. So she walks out from her bedroom to her living room with the police, and she sees her whole living room fully plastered, and she just sees a box of power tools. So drills, axes, you name it, it was in that power tool box. If she left her room and she didn't use her womanly instincts, you guys, women, we're never wrong. I said what I said and I meant it. If she did not just listen to her instincts, she would have been gone. I'm so scared for women. We're not safe ever, and it's really sad. I really want to know how she felt in that moment. Just to be whoa, I just listened to my gut, and that's the main reason I'm still alive till this day. If you're watching this, I'm so proud of you, and I hope you know that. Moral of the story is, a man can be so normal, have the perfect job, and just be a walking green flag and still not be the person that you think he is. So just don't let anyone into your home. Make sure that you guys run a background check first.
If he does any of these things, I'm sorry to break it to you, but girl, he does not want you. Trust me, after 23 years of men using the same tactics on me, I think, you start to kind of catch on. Now, I feel like this is the most obvious one, but if he's super dry or doesn't text you back quick enough, he's not into you, friend. When men are interested, typically they will respond pretty quickly. That's something that you'll notice. If he's never responding quickly, friend, you're out of luck. But if he only responds quickly when y'all are getting freaky through text, then you're out of luck. Or if he went from responding quickly in the beginning of y'all talking, so randomly all of a sudden now he never fucking responds and he always has an excuse not to hang out or something like that, friends, he don't like you. Anytime a man takes forever to respond or can't make plans with you because he's busy, he's a fucking liar. If they want to, they will make time for you. Usually I'm busy means I'm busy with somebody else. Keep that in mind, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you, twin. If you're ever confused if he likes you or not, the chances are of him actually liking you are very, very slim. If he liked you, you wouldn't be so confused. Signs to look out for are breadcrumbing and love bombing. Love bombing is when they'll give you words oh baby, I love you, I want to be with you, but then their actions don't match up with the words. Or they'll tell you that they don't want a relationship with you, but then they're constantly telling you how much they love you and stuff like that. When they breadcrumb you, they'll do just enough to keep you interested. For example, example, they'll start texting you a lot more, or like they'll start liking your stories more or interacting with your posts more once they realize that you start to pull away. This is what they do to like slightly bring you back in. But then once they see that you're back in, they pull away again, and it's just a constant fucking cycle. I don't understand why they do this. Like, if you don't like me, like, why are you breadcrumbing me? Like, if you got other bitches, why do you need to breadcrumb me? Like, go entertain them, leave me alone, you know? Pay a lot of attention on how they like interact with you. Like, if they're super bold with you early on, the chances of them actually wanting to be with you is low. Usually when they're super bold with you early on, they just kind of want to use you for your body. I've noticed that when guys actually really like you, they're a little bit more like held back, a little bit more reserved. They can still be bold, but they're more like cautious of what they're saying and what they're doing and how they're acting around you. Pay attention to how they compliment you. If they're only complimenting you on your looks, on your body, chances of them actually wanting to be with you are very slim. When a man likes you, he'll compliment like other characteristics about you. I kind of hate to break the news to you, but I fear it's kind of obvious. If you're the only one who takes initiative to like hang out and stuff like that and make plans, friend, he doesn't like you, because if he liked you, he would take initiative. He would. Now, if any of these things sound very familiar to you and you're going through the same shit, you have two options. You can fucking leave and go find a man who actually does like you. Or number two, just do it for the plot, okay? But make sure you stay a step ahead. Make sure you understand what the fuck he's doing. Don't fall for it. Don't let your emotions take over, okay? Use him the same way that he's using you. So once you start to fall for it, that's when shit gets messy, and that's when your feelings get hurt, bitch. Recognize the signs and either run with them or run away from them.
Story time on how my best friend destroyed my new place, and it was like brand new and it was destroyed. Disrespectful. Now, obviously, bear in mind we are not friends anymore for the obvious reasons, but I would like to also just add in that this was my first ever place and I'm still in it now, and I was so excited to have my first ever place, and then she just destroys it. So when I was younger, me and my best friend actually lived in a hostel whilst I had my son, and obviously she had her daughter as well. And then I was going on holiday, so I thought, oh, you know, instead of us staying in the hostel, whilst I go on holiday for 10 nights, she can stay at mine and have the whole place to herself, you know, give her baby girl a little bit more room and whatever else. And I said, basically, whilst I'm on holiday, you can pretty much do whatever you want, like take whatever you want, like use whatever you want, sort of thing. The only thing I asked her not to do was two things. One was no parties, because obviously it's my new place. My son's bedroom is right there. No parties or anything. And then the other thing was, I don't want your baby dad around here, because she was very on and off with him, as a lot of people are. But he was a very nasty person. So I said I don't want him to know where I live, obviously, for safety reasons. So those were the only two rules. Now, if you can't already tell from this part of the story, that is exactly what she did. She did those two rules that I asked her not to do, and she did them. And then I got a message whilst I was on holiday, and she said, oh, I'm really sorry, I broke your blind in your room. I'm really sorry. And I was like, that's no problem, things happen, it doesn't matter. And then I also got a message at the end of my holiday as well saying, I'm really sorry I wasn't able to clean up. It's just a little bit of a mess, but I apologise. And I was like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't need to be spotless, it's fine. So obviously in my head, I have that a blind's broken and it's a little bit of a mess at my flat when I come home. Now, I come home at, I think it was like 2:30 in the morning, because obviously I just got a flight back from Turkey, all of that. It was very late. But obviously I was expecting a little bit of mess and a broken blind. That was not the case. Now, when I got back, the first thing that I noticed, obviously she's gone at this point, was there was a broken glass in my room, just on the floor, and it weren't just like all little pieces. It was a fully broken, massive pint glass on the floor, just there. It's not like you couldn't see it. It was right on the floor, right there. And obviously I have a 4-year-old who at the time was 2, and if I let him in my place first, then he could have ran into my room and then just cut his foot on the glass, because obviously he doesn't know danger yet. Luckily I got into my room first. I saw the broken blind. That was expected. I was like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Things happen, it doesn't matter. And then I went into the living room and then things just got very bad. I can laugh about it now, but honestly at the time I was so annoyed. And I let people off like there's no tomorrow, but this peed me off. I go into the living room and my brand new coffee table has drawings all over it, obviously from a child. Now, if things happen, you know, you can't always stop children. I get children do things that, you know, you don't particularly want them to do. But I mean, it was all over and you could clearly see that it's like could be wiped. So I automatically very quickly got a cloth and started to wipe it, and a lot of it came off. Like a lot of it, there was still some damage, like the pen was dug in there, so obviously I couldn't get all of that out. But the fact that I could wipe some of it off just shows me that she didn't even bother to wipe it off after her daughter just drew all over it. And I did message her that at the time. I said, if, you know, your daughter draws on things, I understand that things happen. She's a baby. What can you do? But you need to try and wipe it off. Okay, this is like your best friend's place. And everything's brand new. Everything that I brought in here was brand new at the time. She didn't even bother to wipe it off, because when I wiped it off, a lot of it came off. Obviously, there was still some damage, but the fact that she just left it, it's not like she didn't know it was there. I mean, this is a white coffee table we're on about, and there's just pencil all over it. Then I go into my bathroom, and my toilet and bathroom is split. I know, annoying. But I went into the toilet one, and there is like drinks all up the wall, like just splattered all up the wall. And I'm like, who on earth sat on the toilet having a drink? Are you okay? No. And I was like, I'm so confused. What on earth is going on? And then I went into the kitchen, and then I brought this brand new fridge freezer, right? And it's in black, and it was luscious. I loved it. It was so beautiful. It wasn't like high end or anything, but it wasn't like cheap either. Do you know what I mean? And this one's the one that annoyed me the most. Actually, no, that's not the one that annoys me the most. The one that annoys me the most is the sofa. Okay, wait. Anyways, I go into the kitchen, and then the fridge freezer has a huge dent in it, and I mean massive. And I'm like, what sort of teenage girl and little baby girl can cause that big of a dent? What on earth was she doing? And then I turn around to look towards my bin. Oh my goodness, the amount of rubbish bags that were filled with like food and whatnot. This was 10 nights we're on about, and there was like 6 or 7 massive bin bags full of mouldy food, and it stunk. And I just thought, why didn't you take that out? Like, you didn't clean up at all. What is going on? And then and then I look at the washing up pile, and the washing up pile is piled, and I mean full on, something you've never seen before. I wish I took photos of that. I did not. I mean piled to the point that food was like stuck on it and moulding on it. Do you not have any respect? Like, come on. And I also saw in the freezer a party bag of ice cubes. That's where it like kind of kicked in. I was like, okay, got ya. And don't forget, there was like mess everywhere. Everywhere, weren't just the kitchen, it was everywhere. And then we move on to the sofa. There's a nice big rip in it, and I'm like, my brand new sofa. Lovely, okay. And then I needed something from the window ledge behind the sofa, and I forgot what it was now. Something stupid. And then as I leant over, I saw down the back, this was the next morning by the way, I looked down the back. Oh my goodness, there was cans of Pepsi splattered all up the wall, cans of Pepsi actually on the floor and everything as well. There was mouldy chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Honestly, the back of my sofa stunk. Like, it was disgusting, the amount of stuff that was up the walls. What are you doing? What kind of party are you throwing? And obviously things just got worse. There was loads of little stuff. Some of my stuff was stolen, and obviously I don't know if that was her or one of her friends that she brought round. But it was actually my beauty crop. What was it, the primer or the mist or whatever it was, the cherry one that went missing. And then I noticed underneath my bed that a lot of my skincare and stuff was missing when I didn't have the vanity and stuff. So I kept it all underneath my bed, and a lot of it was missing. And I was like, ugh. And then I said to her, have you taken anything? She was like, no, of course not. Of course not. And obviously at this point I knew she was lying. Like, it was either her or it was one of her friends. Either way, get a grip. Obviously I confronted her about everything over Snapchat at the time, because I couldn't see her. She lived a bit too far away from me at the time. And she denied everything. She was like, I don't know what you're on about. No idea. No, my daughter didn't draw on the coffee table, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, the fairies must have come out then. That's crazy. Wow, these fairies must be really messy. Anyways, obviously we are not best friends anymore. I haven't spoken to her for a long time. It takes a lot for me to not be friends with someone that I was automatically really good friends with. But The fact that she destroyed my brand new place, and I mean everything in this place was brand new at the time, and I was so excited to have my first ever place. I was 18 years old, 22 now, guys. But I was very excited to have my first new place, and I thought I'd do a really nice thing for a friend to let her stay, have her own space, do as she pleases, you know what I mean? Not have like a curfew or anything. And the 2 rules that I ask her not to do, she does, and then also just destroys the place in the meantime. If I had photos of this, I think only then would you understand how bad it actually was. Like, it was ridiculous. I also made a video on this, like, sort of a long time ago, like 4 years ago, on TikTok when I weren't doing it properly. And she actually messaged me saying, can you take that down? Can you take that down? Why are you embarrassed? You should be. It was filthy. Who lives like that? I get a bit of mess. Right, I'm not tidy. But you see my vanity right now, it's a mess. But if I was to stay at somebody else's home, you know that is spick and span, okay? There would not be a speck of dust after I was there. There just wouldn't, because I feel like it's just the most respectful thing to do. I even, like, make my bed when I'm in a hotel room. I don't even need to do that, but I do, because it feels respectful.
So one time during graduation season, it was super, super busy one night. And we were integrating our new waitlist system. It was one of the ones where you could put your name in and your phone number so that we can send you a text to let you know your table is ready. So I'm helping out at the hosting because we are mod. We have about 8 large parties deep in the line just trying to get on the wait list. And so this guy comes in and he's huge. He comes straight to the host stand, bypasses everybody in line. And he's like, yo, I need a table for 5. So I look at him. I'm like, okay, 1 minute. So I go back to talking to the lady that I was talking to. So he stands there and he's like, hey, yo, did you hear what I just said? So I look at him and I say, hey, yo, do you see what I'm doing? I'm talking to people that arrived before you that are trying to get on the wait list. If you want to get on the wait list for a table, you have to wait until I finish talking to all of these people. So he doesn't move. He just stands there with his arms folded, just staring at me the whole time. And even though I'm trying to get them seated, I'm the hostess with the mostest times 10. Now I'm asking about certain accommodations and booths and birthdays. Oh, your kids are cute. Do we need this? Do we need that? I'm trying to do the most just to prolong his time for waiting. So it's finally his turn, and I greet him like I've never seen him before. Hey, how are you? Welcome. What can I get for you today? And that pisses him off. And he's like, you know, I've been standing here for a table. So I'm like, okay, well, how many are in your party? And he's like, I told you 5. So I'm like, okay, no problem. What's the name? He was like, the name? What do you need a name for? I didn't have to give you a name the last time. So I'm like, well, last time is not this time. We are super, super busy because of graduation season. If you would like to have a table, I definitely need your name. He's like, come on, man, just put J down on there. So I'm like, okay, cool. J, party at 5. I also need your phone number. That way I can let you know when the table's ready. I didn't have to do any of this before. Like, you playing games. All I need is a table. You can just give me a table. So I say, oh, this isn't a personal request. I have no desire to speak to you outside of here. I just want to make sure that we have your information, that when your table is ready, in case you're not in the lobby, you know to come down to the restaurant so we can get you seated. So he like, nah, you doing too much. You taking your job way too seriously, too much. All you got to do is give me a table. I'm not doing all that. And he storms out. So I'm like, okay, cool. I took that as he just didn't want to be sat, because in order for me to put your name on the wait list, I need your name and your phone number. And you refusing to give it to me and you storming out lets me know that you don't want to dine with us. Cool. About 40 minutes go by. He comes barreling in the front door again. And he's like, hey, yo, my table not ready yet? And I'm like, sir, what table? He was like, yo, like, stop playing. I told you, I've been here waiting for my table. I said, sir, I asked you for the information we needed to put you on the wait list for your table. You refused to give me the information, and then you stormed out and said you weren't doing this. How was I supposed to know that you were still waiting for a table? He says, well, I came in and asked for one, didn't I? I said, you did, but you didn't want to give me the information I needed to secure the table. He was like, well, I gave you my name. I said, you gave me your name and you stormed out of the restaurant. Even if you gave me your name, how was I going to communicate to you that your table was ready? You weren't in the building. You stormed out. And he's like, I was out there sitting in my car. And I say, well, how was I supposed to know that? And he goes, well, where else would I be? So I say, literally anywhere. You stormed out of the building. You could have went home. You could have went to another restaurant. Was the expectation for me to go through the parking lot, peeking through windows, hoping to see you so I can tell you that your table's ready? How was I supposed to know? So he's like, nah, you got to get me somebody else. Get me somebody else right now. Is there anybody else I can talk to? Nope, just me. So he's like, all right, well, how long for a table? So I'm like, well, now it's about an hour 20 minutes. He's like, oh, come on, you lying to me, you lying. And I'm like, sir, you're hungry, I have the food, what do I need to lie for? You can look around and see that it's busy. And so he's like, nah, I ain't waiting, I done already waited, F this and F you. And then I had a stack of menus that were on the whole stand, and he knocks them down, he storms out again. But the thing was, I definitely was lying. It wasn't going to take an hour and 20 minutes to get him sat. I just didn't want to sit him at a table, him give my server a problem, me having to go over there and deal with it. It would have been a whole thing all night. Not today. Maybe tomorrow, but not today.
Story time, creepy story time. Let me tell you about it. I moved into this house. I was working night shift, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I didn't usually sleep during the night. But the first night that we slept here, or we were supposed to like sleep here or whatnot, my man had to work, so I was home alone. Keep that in mind. And so I was like, you know what, F it, I don't have anything to do or anything. Might as well just try to nap during the night. And so I did. I took a little nap and whatnot, right? Well, that nap was creepy as hell because I was in the house in my dream. And it was empty, no furniture, not my bed, not anything. I remember I was entering my room in my dream, and then I was like, what the fuck? And then I see a man in a chair. This man had a really nice suit. He had this fedora hat, and it was covering his face except for his like mouth, where you could see like his smile. Like, I'll never forget that smile. And he said, you're going to make a perfect addition to this house. And then I woke up. I told my man that I got a creepy vibe and everything, and ever since then I would hear small things, like really small things, like a cabinet closing or a door closing and everything. And he said, oh, it's nothing, it's probably nothing, blah blah. So I was like, okay, you know what, maybe you're right, maybe I just watched a movie or something, whatever. So carry on, right? Time passes. I've been here for a couple months. It dies down. If you hear small things, it's small things, it's nothing, bang, you carry on, right? Well, then my sister moves in because she had turned 18, and she's like, hey, can I move in? Like, I don't want to stay with her parents. And I said, yeah, sure, whatever. She moves in. She's in the spare bedroom. Her first night, she like comes out. She goes, dude. And I go, what? She's like, I had a fucking weird dream. And I said, what? She's like, some guy with a nice suit. And I was like, hold up. A nice suit? She goes, yeah. And I was like, was he wearing a hat? She goes, yeah. And I was like, was he wearing a fedora hat? She was like, what? And I had to show her a picture. She goes, yeah, that's it. And everything. And I said, what did he tell you? And she's like, nothing. He stood and looked at me. Like he was, like as if he was observing me and everything. And that in her dream, she noticed that he was just making his rounds through the house and everything. And then I was like, what? And then we were looking up like what generation it could be and everything. Keep in mind, this house is a trailer home, so it's not even that old. I think I have like a 2012 model or something like that. So I was like, but then my sister was like, wait, you're like next to a battlefield, or you're close to a battlefield, you're this and that and everything. Anybody could have easily been traveling and like died on the property. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I was like, let's not think too much in depth about it, it's whatever. That was just our like, because she didn't make me feel crazy, so that was like our thing. I was like, have you ever like dreamed of him again? She said no, he like only made his presence known that one time. Then fast forward, I have a coworker that came over, we had a couple drinks, blah, 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 and everything, and we were like, you know, chilling and vibing. Then she like tells me that like the next day, she's like, hey dude, not to creep you out, but like I can see things. And I said, oh, bet, cool. Like, so could my mom, because my mom was like very into spiritual stuff. And she was like, no, dude, like I for real, like I saw something. And I was like, what'd you see? She goes, there was this man in your laundry room. And I said, oh yeah. She goes, yeah, he's not like bad, but I don't think he's technically good, he's just there. And I was like, what was he wearing? She goes, really nice suit and a hat. And I said, oh, what kind of hat? And she goes, a fedora hat. And I was like, okay. And I was like, did he tell you anything? She goes, no, it looks like he just creeps around. He looks like he goes and he looks, but now he doesn't enter the bedrooms. And I said, okay. And then I told her about my dream. She goes, oh, that's crazy and everything. And then we just started talking, because then she told me she saw somebody else, which like that can be a whole different story. But so that happened, right? Fast forward to yesterday. My little nephew comes over and he's playing with, obviously, like my son. They're playing everything. He comes out, he goes, the man's dead. And I was like, I looked at my sister-in-law and I was like,
huh? And she's like, what are you talking about? He goes, the man's dead. And he thought about like my man, like my kid's dad. And I was like, no, he's in Kansas and blah blah. And he goes, no, the man in the room, he's dead. And I was like, my sister-in-law there is in shock. I'm in shock. And I looked at him. I said, hey baby, does that man have a hat? He goes, yeah, but he's dead. He's standing over there. Oh my. I didn't ask anything of it. My sister-in-law looks at me. She goes, what is happening? And I told her about every single occurrence and everything. And I told her, I was like, your son is the only one that has like said it straight off the bat and everything. So I don't know who he is. I don't know what he is. But I think he's about to be mad because I'm going to move soon. So
I, 35 female, live with my mom, 72, and sister, 32. My fiance, 33 male, and his son, 12. We lost my dad about 5 years ago, which is when my dad invited my fiance, although he was my boyfriend at that time, to move in with us. Please note that this was without his son who came later on. The reason I feel stuck in the middle is because after my dad passed, I became the head of the household. I never realized how much we depended on my father until I took over all of the bills. Here's my problem. Ever since my fiance has been living with us, he's proven to be a hard worker, taking whatever jobs he can possibly get, and continues to strive so he contributes financially. I'm a science teacher and I wear a lot of hats on my job, so I make a very good pay as a teacher, even higher than my fiance. My fiance and I together can live on our own if we wanted to. My mom is retired and gets a decent pay for retirement. Here's the problem. My 32-year-old sister, who doesn't work and refused to work in years, sits streaming and gets her like $50 to $100 monthly. Swears she contributes, but she's so wrong. I feel like my mom enables her. And don't get me wrong, I love my sister and I know I contributed to that problem as we grew up. I paid for cruises and trips she can't partake. I always paid for 2. My parents clearly taught me to share too well. My fiance and I keep having random arguments whenever he gets all stressed about my sister, saying she's a leech and that all she does all day is use the computer, and it's always the same battle. I tell him my sister is not his problem, but he says it is. They don't have the best relationship, but they try. For example, he asked my sister's opinion about my ring. We got engaged in 2024. But it's true. I feel like if she would pay some bills like the internet, which is what she uses all day anyways, I wouldn't be so financially stressed. I love my mom and my sister, but I also want to officially get married and start my family, but I feel like I can't. I feel like I have to choose my sister and mom or my fiance and my stepson. Just for your information, my stepson and I have a beautiful relationship. I just hate having these arguments with my fiance. I hate how all worked up he gets. This is why I feel stuck, because I don't want to leave my mom, but sometimes I feel like if I do, that might be a wake-up call. My fiance starts asking me, God forbid something happens to your mom. Then what? What would you do if you were in my situation? Thank you.
Am I in the wrong for telling my friend their new partner isn't welcome at our group hangouts anymore? So, I'm part of a close-knit friend group. There's 6 of us and we've been solid since college. We do everything together. Birthdays, road trips, casual dinners, group chats every day. No drama, until recently. One of our friends, let's call her Tessa, started dating this guy, Eli, about 4 months ago. At first, we were happy for her. She's had some rough relationships and was excited about this one. But the second Eli entered the group dynamic, the red flags were immediate. First hangout, he brought a printed itinerary for a casual backyard barbecue and tried to assign everyone stations for food prep. When someone gently teased him about it, he pouted and said, I'm just trying to make things efficient. We laughed it off, but then he started coming to every hangout, even when we didn't explicitly invite him. He dominated conversations, overshared weird details about their intimate life. Tessa loves when I read poetry to her after, don't you babe? And once started a heated argument over whether cilantro tastes like soap. He also drinks way too much and gets messy. At a birthday dinner, he got into it with one of our friends over Taylor Swift. Like, aggressively. Slammed the table and yelled, "You're buying into the corporate machine," and stormed out. We thought that would be the end of it. Tessa made excuses, said he's just passionate, a little intense, and still figuring out how to gel with the group. We try to be patient for her sake, but last weekend was the breaking point. We rented a cabin for a chill lake weekend, just our core group. Tessa asked if Eli could come, just for one night, and we reluctantly agreed. He showed up late, reeking of Mary Jane, immediately turned the Bluetooth speaker to full volume and started playing his own music, which, for the record, was SoundCloud trap remixes of Dizzy's songs. That night, he got drunk and asked if he wanted to do a group trauma share while shirtless in the hot tub. The next morning, someone's shoes were floating in the lake and a bottle of tequila was missing. When we asked about it, Eli said, "The forest spirits must have wanted a taste." I finally snapped and pulled Tessa aside. I told her we love her, but her boyfriend is not the vibe. I said he's chaotic, attention-seeking, and making everyone dread group plans. I told her that he's not welcome at future hangouts until he learns how to behave like an actual adult. She got super defensive and accused me of gatekeeping the friend group. Now she's barely talking to us, and she said that she needs space to rethink her relationships. Some of the group supports me, but others think that I could have been more gentle. I didn't want to hurt her, but we're all burnt out from managing this man baby every weekend. So